Hello everybody. In this video, I'm really excited on what we're going to learn. We're going to see how to create our first Node application. Our Node application is going to be a server actually, and it will help us to create our APIs the way that we actually needed to have it. So we learned in a couple of videos in the past how to actually consume different APIs. Now we're going between this video and the next week's video, we are going to learn how to create our own APIs. And I will talk about a little bit about Node.js it is and how it actually works and how to help you run JavaScript on the server. We have been using Node.js for a time right now. And we use a package manager to install dependencies, it's actually Yarn. And we've been using it through the process of creating Vue application. All those package manager, all those scripts that we just run like yarn serve or yarn build, etc. All those are specific scripts that utilize Node.js or JavaScript in the server, or in this case in your computer, in order to build or to create something in your application on your computer. When we use a yarn serve, we compile pretty much our Vue application, and we make it in order to be understandable to the browser, but we also create a server that's going to be automatically deployed in order to verify the functionality. Of course, this is a development server. It's not a production server, just for development purposes. But I want to dig a little bit in Node. Well, not dig actually, I want to keep it simple and explain how to create a server in there. And one of the first dependencies I want to install is going to be Express. Express is a framework that is built on top of Node. It helps to create APIs or a web server in a really easy manner. So how we started? The cool thing about Vue is we have a CLI. Express also have a CLI, but I don't want to use it because I will really simplify the things now. So as you can see, I'm already in my folder. So let me just create a directory and let's call it first node. And let's actually construct the API. So let's create our first node API. And now let's actually open it. Let me expand this a little bit. There you go. And we have an empty folder without anything there. Let me open my terminal just to have it open. There you go. So I have my my terminal on the bottom and my structure on the left and the content on the top. So let's see how we need to actually create it. In order to work with that Node application, what we need to have is an index file. So let's actually create, actually no index, it's just a simple application JavaScript file or whatever, it doesn't matter how it's called. Let's do a console.log hello there. This is traditional HTML. We have seen those actually running in the browser, but what Node will help us actually do is when we run this file through Node in our terminal, we have that content on there. We can actually have something like 1 plus 1 and it will do a mathematical expression. So we have the full-blown capabilities of JavaScript with a little bit more, because it helps us actually to see files in our directory and it helps us with a lot of things. For now, in order to start it, let me just remove my JavaScript. Perfect. Let me clear my directory, and I want to start doing my structure, what I need to have. So the first thing that I need to do is git init. This will actually run and create a repository empty in my folder. We cannot see it, that's fine for now. Then let me see if I have my browser open. No, I don't. Let me open my browser and right here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to go to a website called gitignore.io, and it will create us a specific gitignore file that we needed. We'll specify operating system, IDs, and programming language. So in my case, I will put Mac OS. I will put Visual Studio Code. Perfect. And I'm doing Node. If you're using Windows, just type Windows. Something like that should work. So in my case, let me just put my Visual Studio. In my case, it's Node, macOS, and Visual Studio Code. And I create this. And it created a bunch of information in my gitignore. I just need to select it, copy over, and I will create code.gitignore and paste it. This will have pretty much a lot of information that is going to be already ignored in our application. So now that we have that, I will actually like to have my source directory, and in my source directory I will create my index JavaScript file, and this is going to be my entry point. Console.log. Hello there. If you use Node, let me go back where am I supposed to, and we can actually run Node from my source directory, my index file, and we'll see that everything is actually running. So we have a source directory. That source directory will have all our code, but I want to compile that code. It's going to be in a distribution directory, and I will show you in a while how to actually do that. So we need to start install some dependencies. Something will happen with JavaScript is JavaScript having different versions between the years. I don't remember the years right now, but around 2015, I believe, they released a new version that was like 10 years ago between the previous of JavaScript, and they started incorporating new implementations. Some of those is called actually ES6, and probably you have seen those, and we can actually be using those through our Vue application. So when we do something like import something from something, I don't know, just typing something there. So the import statement is a modern JavaScript implementation that is not available yet in our application. So we need to make it available. And for that, we are going to be using Babel. Babel, what it does is help you to have next generation JavaScript today. So when we do something as a modern JavaScript, as you can see on the left, it's going to be browser compatible. It's going to be transcribed in all fashion and all wave. So let's actually install all this, and I already have the steps. So what we need to be doing first, before we create any application, we need to create our package of the .json. You need to, in order to do that, we do yarn init, and this will start asking us some configurations. When we do that, after giving all those configurations, it will actually create the package JSON. So it gives you actually the name. I will keep it like that. Version, I will keep it like that one. The first description is going to be first Node app. My entry point is going to be actually in the source directory index.javascript. Repository URL, I don't have it right now. I am the author, perfect. and keep the license not private. And this will create this package JSON. From here, we can actually start creating or installing some dependencies. So we're going to install some of those dependencies. So we're going to do yarn add -d. We can actually start development dependencies and production dependencies. So I will start adding some of those dependencies. For example, it's going to be add Bubble CLI, add Bubble Core, add Bubble Node, and add Bubble preset environment. So we need to actually install all those dependencies as a development environment. It's really important that we need to keep our development environment with -d, because this is also need to be compiled there. That's why we put it there. So now that we have that, the next thing you need to do is just click enter. And you will see, because we have this open, after a couple of minutes of this get done, we're going to start listing all our applications right here. So let's give it for a minute. Perfect. You will see that our dependencies are already there. And you will see that the Node module get created and it's already graded out because Node module is already in my git ignore. So it's not going to be committed the way that we actually need it. Perfect. Another thing with Node is, for example, it doesn't restart by itself. It's probably running in a loop, but when something breaks, it's just break and get out from the system. So we do node source, for example, and let me just put my console again. It will have something like this. It is actually finished. If we change something, we need to execute it again. In a development environment, that's not very helpful. So something that we can actually use is add as a dependency environment again, node mon. Node monitor will help you and this is just for development, will help us to run an application over and over and listen for changes. So we can actually do node mon. Let's go back to the package. We had a node monitor already as a development dependencies. So just before that, let's start creating our scripts. Our script is going to be the task that's going to be running in order to execute something specific. So let's do our development script, and it's going to be doing its node mon. That way, if we do yarn development, we see that it gets started. It goes to the main entry point that we specified in the package JSON, and it gets executed. Hello there. And as you can see, we don't have the prompt because we do some changes. For example, hello again. It gets restarted and it gives you that exit. So this is going to be really, really helpful in order to how to implement our Node application for a development environment. That way, it's going to be always be restarting, and we can actually doing changes of the code. We're going to be right away what's actually going to happen. Now that we have those dependencies, we need to configure those. So one of the things in the root, in the first Node API, we need to do code.bubble.rc, and this is just to configure Bubble configuration, and it's going to be really simple. And I want to actually copy one that I already have. The only thing that I'm doing here is going to using the preset that we installed, and the target is going to be Node the current version, because we actually have in this time we have Node 13.9. It's almost the newest version, but that's why we are defining that the target is going to be there. That's what that means is when we're going to transpile the code, we're going to make it understandable to where we're doing it. That's the only thing. So So now that we have that, we can actually now use some script to create or to execute new node module or new, how can I say it, modern JavaScript. So I already have some. So we need to create the traditional start, and this is like pretty much like the production environment. And what we're going to be doing is use node distribution folder index JavaScript. That doesn't exist yet, but we are going to make it. So we need to actually create our build environment. Our build environment, what we're going to be doing is to compile our code and create that distribution folder. So let me actually just copy all this and I will paste it. So I'm then do a bubble in the source directory and specifying that the directory is going to be my distribution folder. Delete the distribution folder if that already exists, like it's already there, it's just deleted to recompile. Just create the source map in the inline mode and copy everything. That's pretty much what I'm doing here. So now, NodeMon or development environment, what we can do is actually run in my source directory. I'm going to exec something specific, bubble node. We have it there, and this will help us to have a development environment to compile on the spot the modern JavaScript. And I want to show you what is that modern JavaScript. So now that we have that, I can actually use the yarn dev, and we have running, and we can create a temporal. Let's just put a new temporal JavaScript file, and from here let's do export const hello, and this is going to be, we want to take a text actually, and it's going to return a console.log that text. And let's actually do test equal that way we have a default value. So it's just a simple modern function in JavaScript. This, how I was actually doing in the past, is just to create like a function called hello, and it will take something called text, and we'll have the hello there, and this function is going to return console.log the text. So this is the old way to actually create a function, and using the arrow, the fat arrow, it helps you to have a little more understandable code and a little more cleaner. So Bubble is going to pretty much doing that, and then do the module dot export, and we export the hello function in there. But this is the old way. So let's actually test rate this. Now in my index I can actually import, and because I'm not exporting something default, I will just import my hello from my temporal file, and I can just call it hello, and now hello with new message. We see that hello there is there because I'm calling it without the index, so it's taking the default one, and when the new text is called a new message. So we saw that our application is actually running. So let me delete this, and let me delete my temporal, I don't need it. And I believe we have our development environment ready. Oh, you know what? Let me just return it. I don't know if I can actually, no, I forget. Sorry for this. So let me put it back again. uh, export const hello equal text hello there. That's going to return console.log my text. Perfect. Save it. Oh, and we need to save the index again. Okay, we saw that it's working. So let me console and let me try to run Node directly in my source directory in my index file. And you will see that the syntax is error because it doesn't understand what is that. But if we do a yarn build, this is pretty much going to create a distribution. And you will see that our file changes a little bit in the way that it's going to be understandable by Node. And we can actually do Node distribution for the index. It's actually running the way that it's supposed to. But we also have the yarn start, we save that. And we can execute the code. This is how the way that it's actually works. If we do yarn build again, the distribution get deleted and gets recreated. It's really fast, we don't see it, but it's actually happening like that. And then we can do yarn start to see like our production code somehow, right? So let me close everything. Now let me delete my temporal. Let me delete the content from my index. And I will commit everything. Let's say my initial commit. Perfect. So now what I want to do is going to go to Express. Oh, not that Express. Here we go. Express.js. So what it does is a fast and opinionated minimalistic web framework for Node. It will help us, and let's go to the Hello World example. And this is the old way to use Node.js. I will show you the new one. But it's pretty much giving us, we import Express, then we create an application that is going to be an Express token Express function. We specify a port, and then we specify a route. That's it. As simple like that. So I have my nodes over here. Let me just open it really quick. And we're going to install, and this is going to be a production dependency, so yarn add without the D express. Perfect. Now that we have express, we can do import express from express. Now that we imported express, we can actually use create a constant for application is going to be or express app. Let me just do const port equal 3000 like the default port, and let me just application dot listen in the port. Perfect. So we initially our express. Let me save this. For one last step, we need to specify a route. So let me use application.get, and you will remember this from the assignment about the REST API. So whenever I get something in the root directory, I could have a function that will read my response and will read the request and handle the response that need to be sent to the users. So let me show you that, and that is actually going to be request response and there's going to be a fat arrow. It's going to do something about it. So let's respond. Send hello there. We just start our server. Oh, Express not defined because I have a typo here. There you go. Now starting, perfect. That means if I go to my localhost 3000, have my hello there. We have a web application working. This doesn't look like an API. That's really easy to fix. So let's change that because I'm doing a request to the get to the root. If I do something extra, it cannot get it because it doesn't find it. So that's why when we do the request and the browser pretty much when it does the request, it's getting that. So let me actually change this to a JSON format, and what I'm going to be sending is going to be a message key. So now that it's started, I click enter. Now we have a JSON with the message sending the hello there. We have our API ready. As simple, with just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines of code, we have an API that responds a JSON message calling hello there. That's why it's that simple to use Express in our application. Before I close this video, I just want to give you like an extra step. Postman. I will require, it's recommended, it's not required, it's recommended to everybody have Postman, for example, in order to test APIs. Another one is called Insomnia, I believe. Insomnia, sorry. There you go. So whatever you will like it, Insomnia or Postman. The one that we're going to use is actually going to be Postman. Let me show you an example how it actually works. So we're going to specify, one of the cool things about Postman, it's going to actually specify the different methods that we have in an API. So we can actually do a GET request to my HTTP localhost port 3000. And we have our JSON message in there. With status code 200, that means that the request was fine. So we're going to be using Postman or Insomnia, whatever you actually like it, in order to make our calls to the API. I would like to stop the video right now. We're going to get deep a little bit more in Express in the next one to create a little more formal API without database connection. I probably will leave the database connection for the next class, but for now, let me leave it like that. And I hope that you like it. Happy coding, everybody.